What happens when a grieving widow's cry for justice is silenced by the very system meant to protect her? In the sweltering summer of 1963, in a small Alabama town, Clara Thompson stood alone in a courtroom that reeked of polished wood and prejudice. Her husband, James, a hard-working mechanic, had been brutally beaten to death by a group of white men after a dispute over a car repair. The evidence was overwhelming. Eyewitnesses, blood-stained clothes, even a confession from one of the attackers. Yet, Clara knew the truth didn't always matter in a town where the color of her skin marked her as less than human. Clara, a seamstress with calloused hands and a heart heavy with loss, had spent months preparing for the trial. She wore her best Sunday dress, a faded blue frock she'd sewn herself, and carried James's old pocket watch, its ticking a faint reminder of the life they'd dreamed of. The courtroom was packed, the air thick with whispers and sneers. Judge Harlan Whitmore presided, a man known for his sharp tongue and sharper bias. His pale blue eyes glinted with contempt as Clara took the stand, her voice steady but trembling with emotion as she recounted the night James was taken from her. "You expect this court to believe you're kind, over-respectable men?" Whitmore sneered, his words slicing through the room like a blade. The crowd murmured, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. Clara's hands tightened around the watch, her knuckles paling. She spoke of James's kindness, his dreams of opening a shop, but Whitmore cut her off. "This is a court of law, not a stage for your sob story," he snapped, leaning forward. "Your husband likely provoked it. You people always do." The words hit like a slap, and the courtroom fell silent. Clara's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. She wasn't just fighting for James now, she was fighting for her dignity, for every black soul in that town who'd been dismissed, degraded, or destroyed by men like Whitmore. But the judge wasn't done. He mocked her accent, her dress, her very presence, turning her grief into a spectacle for the amusement of a biased jury. The trial ended as she feared. The attackers walked free, their smirks branding her heart. But Clara wasn't broken. She'd seen the flicker of shame in some jurors' eyes, the unease in the bailiff's posture. She knew the truth had power, even if it was buried under lies. That night, in her small, camel-lit home, Clara began to write. She poured her pain onto paper, detailing every moment of the trial, every word of Whitmore's venom. Her neighbors, hesitant at first, began to listen. Her story spread, whispered in churches, shared in barbershops, until it reached a young reporter from a Birmingham paper, hungry for a story that could shake the South. The article hit like wildfire. "Judges' cruelty exposed. Widows fight for justice," screamed the headline. Clara's words, raw and unflinching, painted Whitmore as a tyrant cloaked in robes. The state took notice. Protests erupted outside the courthouse, black and white voices uniting, demanding accountability. Whitmore's name became synonymous with shame, his rulings questioned, his legacy tarnished. The governor, under pressure, ordered a review of the case. The attackers were rearrested, their confessions now binding. Clara stood outside the courthouse on the day of the new trial, James's watch in her hand. She didn't gloat or cheer. Her revenge wasn't vengeance, it was truth. She'd exposed a system that thrived on silence, forcing it to reckon with its sins. The crowd around her chanted her name, but she only smiled softly, her eyes on the horizon. Justice wasn't guaranteed, but she'd carved a path for it, one word at a time. In that small Alabama town, Clara Thompson became a beacon. Her story wasn't just about loss, it was about resilience, about the courage to speak when the world demands your silence. She showed that even in the darkest corners, a single voice could spark a fire. And as the new trial began, with a different judge and a jury that looked a little more like her, Clara felt James's watch tick against her palm, steady as a heartbeat, whispering that the fight was far from over. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, Please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.